Welcome to another Java tutorial. We're working on chapter 4 right now. So you'll need to create a new package. You should already know how to do that. You'll need to create two new classes, one for the gradebook and one for the gradebook test. So this is figure 4.6 on page 114. This one will use the scanner utility, so you need to import it. And we're extending the gradebook class that we were working on before. So we still have the constructor, set course name, get course name, and display message. We're going to add determine class average to the methods. So we have to create a scanner instance. We're creating 4 variables. And that's what you need to manage the grades. You need to keep track of the total. You need to keep track of how many grades you've entered. You need a spot to hold the grade, and you also need to be able to compute the average. We initialize the total to 0, and we initialize the count to 1. And this will be representing the current grade that is being entered. These are all integers because we only need integer values. One of the more powerful and necessary things we need to do with computers is to be able to loop. And loop just allows us to do things repetitively. This saves us doing repetitious code, and it makes it easier to maintain code. So here we're going to enter 10 grades. And this is a conditional, and it's a conditional loop. So it will keep looping until grade is less than or equal to 10. So when it's on 11, this loop will stop. If we stop on 11, that means we'll have entered 10 grades. One problem that beginner programmers encounter is that this conditional, this loop counter, never gets incremented. So it's important that whenever you create a loop, the first thing you want to do is add the incrementer or decrementer. So this plus plus means we add 1 to grade counter and store it back into grade counter. So we output a string for the user, and we input an integer. We run this, we add each grade to the total. After the loop is done, to get the average, we just simply divide the total by 10. And then print out the data that we've collected. So in our gradebook test, or figure 4.7, we simply do the same as before. We use the constructor, that we display the message, and then we determine the class average using the method. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, to make this easy, we'll do 10, 9, 9, 11, 11, 12, 12, 8, 8, and the average should be 10. And the average is 10, and the total is 100. That's great. Now, one thing that you should note, anytime we do divides, it does not round off, it rounds down. So basically, this divide statement provides us with a quotient, which is what you would expect. However, that is not good for determining an average, so we should fix this. We should add 5. And if our total is 105, this should round the average to 11. So let's do this again. We'll enter the first number as 15, and then we'll enter the rest as 10 to give us a total of 105. Okay, so we get 105, and now it rounds off to 11. And whenever you do something, please test thoroughly to make sure the code works as expected. I'm going to run it again. And I'm going to make the total to be 104, and this should round down to 10. So we'll enter the first number as 14, and the rest is 10. Okay, so we do get a total of 104 and the average is 10, which is what we expect. Even if something is published in a book, you always want to test the correctness. If you are able to make code more correct, please proceed and do that. And that ends this lesson.